Just a quick video on guavas today since it is their season. Generally, the main crop of guavas will ripen up here in August. Out of all the subtropicals we can grow here, I would say guava is the absolute easiest. You can put this tree in full sun, unlike a mango, and it's not going to suffer. In fact, it needs a good amount of sun to really give you a good crop of fruit. I find when you put them in shade, they're not going to be as productive. So in front is a tropical pink guava. I had bought as a 3-gallon about 6 years ago. So this is my most mature. And you can see they can get fairly bushy if trained that way. So, you know, guavas will tend to want to put on multi-trunks. You can see I actually thinned this down to one main trunk here last year actually. So if you want that single trunk appearance, just cut these shoots off to help train it. Just another quick comment about shaping is, you know, guava trees can put on a lot of fruit. It's not uncommon to get 10 or more guavas on a branch, and that can put a lot of strain on a tree. So you want fairly good scaffold limbs, strong limbs, to support all that fruit. So guava fruit is ready when pretty much you just touch it and it falls off in your hands. A lot of times I'll just let them fall to the ground like this, you know, and gather them up in the morning. Looks like a animal already got to that one. But you can see this is a pink variety. The tropical guava comes in two main flavor profiles and colors, pink and white. White, just like a lot of fruit trees, is going to be more sugary in my opinion, but less flavorful. The pink is really much more concentrated and tasty in my opinion, but some people don't like the taste of pink guava, so definitely try it out before you grow one of these. And here we can just see all of the fruit set that this puts on. So you can see it's fruiting on the newer wood. So it's a good idea to prune your tree out from those main scaffolds to encourage fruit set. You can easily get on a tree that's mature 4 years in the ground hundreds of guavas in summer. It is one of my favorite fruits to grow here, and so easy. You can see way up in there. So this tree has probably a couple hundred guavas on it. Let me show you another guava tree I'm growing here. I actually bought this from Tropica Mango as a Costa Rican red pear guava. It most definitely is not that variety. I have no idea what kind of guava this is. You can see it's got kind of a peculiar shape. So if I compare it with this one we just looked at, you know, the basic tropical pink, it's got kind of a bell shape to it. You can see some more up here. You can see some of these are quite long. Bell shape. And this one hasn't fruited in a while just because it got set back by the cold last year. So this is the first time it's fruited in a couple years. I've got some that dropped to the ground here. This one's partially eaten, but I'm gonna grab this one. Can cut that top section off where the bugs were chewing on it so we can take a look on the inside. Another guava I'm growing here is called the red Malaysian variety. You can see it's a little different, just the coloration of the leaves. It has a reddish tint to it, similar to the Hollywood plum. So it's a very ornamental variety. The Guava 2 is going to be more of a red color. These are not quite ready yet, but just to give you an idea of the fruit. This is a really good variety. I find that these are not as productive as the tropical pink, and they're a little bit more cold sensitive, but they have a nice flavor profile to them. It's really a mix of a typical pink guava plus strawberry. So it's a really nice taste. And you can see this tree has not grown all that much in the 4 years that I've had it. I had to actually prune this very severely last year because it almost got frozen to the ground from our January 2019 frost. These do not do well in the 20s. Okay, we got some more guavas tucked in here. This is my variegated or honeymoon guava. So this is another kind of unusual variety you won't see too often. You can see that the leaves are variegated. They're tinged in this creamy white color. And the fruit as well. You can reach in here. Striped appearance here. Fruit's on the smaller side this year. This was pretty badly affected in January 2019 as well, so this got cut way back. But this has come back and fruited since then. And this also has an unusual taste. It's still, of course, your typical pink guava taste, but I find it has a tone of nectarine, if you were going to say anything on top of it. So it has an unusual taste. Probably if you're, going to just plant one in the ground, I wouldn't suggest this one, just because it is more of a dwarf habit. It's not going to produce as much fruit for you, plus it's more on the sensitive side. But if you're really into guavas and collecting different varieties, this one's a beautiful one to add to your collection. All right, another variety that I'm growing here is the Barbie pink guava. This is probably people's favorite pink guava. Produces really nice sized guavas. You can see here. As compared to these that we picked, these are quite large. And they're even bigger, of course, in the crop that sets in the fall and then you harvest in spring. And this is a plant that I paid $5 for. I got it at Wellspring, and it started fruiting its first year. So these grow very quickly. You don't need a huge plant. Now this one is, I believe, about 3 years old at this point. Okay, and right next door to it is a white guava. One that I've had since 2016, so 4 years old. This one I had bought as a 3-gallon as well, from actually Seamus O'Leary's. The white guava puts on, a good amount of fruit once it gets going. You can see, we've got guavas pretty much everywhere on this tree. Kind of hard to spot them just because everything is green. They don't stand out that much from the leaves. So like I was mentioning with white guavas, they're a little sweeter in general than the pink, but not as complex in their flavor. Here's one that's turned yellow, and you can see it just kind of came off in my hand. So that's when you know they're ready to go. With white guava, one thing to mention, they do have harder seeds in general. So be careful when you bite into them fresh out of hand. You don't want to crack a tooth. I really like to just blend these up into smoothies. The last variety that I'm growing is this Tikal. Very vigorous cultivar. You can see good sized tree. Actually, it's providing shade in my yard. It's so big at this point. This one I actually harvested in around April, May time frame, so this one fruited a little later than usual, so it's also setting its main crop a little later. So the fruit is quite immature at this stage, very young. So it has a while to go. Pretty much like any tropical pink variety, it's quite precocious. It's going to give you fruit early. You don't have to wait all that long with guava. As the tree matures, your yield is going to just double up every year until you are getting hundreds of guavas. So it's definitely one of those trees that gives you a return right away. You don't have to wait long, and really does well in our climate. You know, occasional frost will set it back a little bit. You might have to do some light pruning, but nothing devastating. It's very, very doable in our climate, and it can adapt to our soils. You don't have to worry about changing the pH. Of course, plant it with amended soil, give it good drainage, mulch it heavily, and it's going to be a happy tree. So don't put too much stock into weights. It's going to depend on how much fruit you're allowing to grow on the tree. The more you grow, the smaller they tend to be. That unknown Costa Rican knot is 29 grams. The tropical pink is 35. And the white Cuban is 49. Let's just take a look on the inside here. So you can see with the white Cuban, it's got more seeds. It was a little bit tougher for me to cut into. Got a nice sweet taste to it. Not much on the seeds. And just delicious. Seeds are going to be softer. If you've never had a pink guava, it's hard for me to describe. It's its own flavor profile, and it's really unlike anything else. And this last one that dropped, it doesn't look all that appetizing. It's kind of dried out. So this one I'm not going to try, but you can see it's a pink type. So, you know, I guess that's just a word of caution, is you can buy a named variety and sometimes the nursery will confuse it. So spare that in mind. But I've had good luck with Lowe's, and that's actually where I recommend it. If you know you want a solid tropical pink guava to plant in your yard, I really recommend just going to Lowe's, picking up a 3-gallon, and in no time you'll have a sizable tree with delicious fruit. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and happy gardening.